Okay, I'm here on busy McKnight Road in Ross Township in the Pittsburgh area, and I wanted to do a video about the movie theaters that used to be on McKnight Road. There are 4 locations we're going to check out, and this one where there's a Staples now, it used to be the North Hills Theater, and it opened in 1964. The first movie it ever showed was 7 Days in May, which had Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas in it. It was a really large movie theater. It just had a single screen. It was actually one of the largest screens in Pittsburgh. And it stayed open until 1989. The last movie it showed was When Harry Met Sally, and it closed to make way for an electronics store, and now it's a Staples. And I have memories seeing some movies in the 80s here. I saw Return of the Jedi. I remember the line wrapped all the way around the building going into the theater. I saw Rocky 3 here. My brother and I used to take the bus up to Northway Mall if we didn't have a ride, and walk down to see movies here and at some of the other locations I'll be showing you. But yeah, it was a great theater. As you can see from some of the photos, really cool architecture. And we're going to move on to the next location. Okay, next up, this location where the Panera Bread is, that used to be where McKnight Cinemas 1 and 2 was. And there's not a whole lot of photos of it from back in the day, but you can see where the Goodwill is now. That's where the Radio Shack was in this older photo. And it was a big deal when it opened up in 1968. Dustin Hoffman and The Graduate was the opening movie, playing on both screens. And you can see from this ad, it talks about the 1,100 foam seats, an inside box office, wall-to-wall carpeting. They later converted it into triplex. They divided one of the theaters so they could show 3 movies. Again, used to come down here to see movies. Probably the best movie I saw here was River's Edge with Crispin Glover, Dennis Hopper, and Keanu Reeves. I think it was 1987 when I saw that. Closed in April of 1988, same weekend that the next theater we're going to look at up the street, the Super Saver Cinemas, opened up at Northway Mall. And an interesting thing about the sign, there was a really cool sign, used to be right there on McKnight Road, and the Long John Silver's that you see in this photo is where that Aspen Dental is now. So shame that's not here anymore, but we'll be heading up to our next location. Okay, our next location is where the Super Saver Cinemas used to be. It was right in this area where all these shops are. And it opened in 1988. And it was a big deal when it opened up, also because movies were only $1. Now, they were second-run movies that had been in the theater for a bit. But at $1, you couldn't beat that. So the decor inside was kind of tacky. It was described as Egyptian disco. A lot of flashy lights. They had a fog machine. They had a tunnel with flashing lights in it that you would walk down to go to the theaters. And the screens were a little smaller. It only seated about 152 to 228 per theater. And the opening movies when it opened included Fatal Attraction, Dirty Dancing, and the first movie I saw, kind of a forgotten movie called Batteries Not Included. They did change to first-run movies with higher prices in 2001, and the name of the theater changed to Northway Mall Cinema 8. And in 2005, they changed the name again to Cinema 8 at the shops at Northway. Closed in 2007 and was tore down. I remember driving by here, seeing the movie screens with the construction trucks, as you can see in this photo. And I just have a lot of good memories of seeing movies here in the mostly late 80s, early 90s. Probably my favorite movie I saw here was Goodfellas. But no longer here. And we're going to move on to our next location. Okay, and this brings us to our last location, up a couple miles from Northway Mall, where Super Saver Cinemas was. And this was Showcase Cinema North. Now, there was a Showcase Cinema East and West in the Pittsburgh area also. And right now it just says Cinemas on the building. It's actually the only one out of our 4 locations that the building's still standing. As far as I know, the screens and the seats are all still inside. It was opened in 1979 with 8 screens. It expanded to 11 screens later, and the original auditoriums were pretty big. They had around 500 seats apiece, and it was opened by National Amusements, but was taken over by Rave Motion Picture Theaters in December of 2009. And you can still see off in the distance there, still says Rave Cinemas, even though it's been closed for a while. And that used to have all the movies that would show at Showcase North on it, as you can see from this photo. And as far as I know, underneath Rave Cinemas, that sign might be still similar underneath. So it was taken over by Cinemark in 2013, and they closed it in 2015. Now, Walmart was going to build not just here, but this whole land area here, but that was opposed by McCandless residents, and that was shut down. It was assessed at nearly $3.5 million, this whole area, and was sold for $550,000 in 2016. So we'll just kind of have to wait and see what else might happen here. They were going to make it into a wetlands park at one point, but that never materialized either. But I have a lot of good memories of some movies here, mostly from the 80s. I saw E.T. here, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, one of the worst movies I ever saw, Jaws 3D, Silverado, Dances with Wolves, and a bunch of others. So that wraps up the video. Hope you enjoyed it, and until next time.